forward Ben to enlighten us. Greetings, Ben. Good to see you.
Okay. So many things are going through my field of consciousness today, and I deliberately I hope nobody's offended here. I deliberately, consciously did not plan what would be spoken. But I want to state my reasons for that. It's not because I don't care. It's not because I'm lazy, although I am lazy. But it's because I strongly believe that what will need to be spoken will be given. And I know that your mission supports that, and I know that all of you support that. And I will say that there's no risk that I won't have something to say. If there was a risk, then I would have planned it all. But since I know that most of the time there's a fire roaring here, then, and when I say that, I mean language as it connects with refinement and ascension of human consciousness. Ascension in this case doesn't really mean just up. It means outward in all directions like a growing circle, and at the same time purifying, like making a glass very, very clean. That's what I'm talking about. So this morning, the first thing I want to do is bless this place, this house, this group, this weekly situation. So if you'll just bear with me for a minute, I'm going to do that. And when I'm doing that, I guess you can do it in your own way with me. It's just going to take a minute. And by the way, do I have a half hour? Okay. I'm going to set it at a half hour right now because last time I went too long.
Oh, we like it.
It's okay.
Well, then,
Just leave it open.
yeah, so you know what? I'm not going to do that because you guys will
wave
all
at
wave
you.
at me when it's
Yeah.
time, when it's
Yeah.
over. So instead, I'm going to record myself.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so.
And you are too, but this is just audio, so. All right. I open my heart to the true essence of existence. This is immortal essence of consciousness. I open my totality to this never-ending, unbreakable, indivisible essence of human consciousness. At a certain point, it's not only even just human consciousness. At a certain point, it's not even just consciousness of plants, insects, animals, people, spirits, angels. At a certain point, it is the true indivisibility. That is profound because I, to myself, seem to be a separate entity from everything. Okay, and that's what's habituated in me. But I open myself to this perfect, immortal consciousness, which is shared equally by everything. I ask that consciousness to completely bless this church, bless this property, bless us all, and generate massive numbers of people coming here, because the message here is the church itself, the spirit of the church itself. A lot of things have happened in this church. I remember 25 years ago, 30 years ago, I was in this church and it was packed, and it needs to be that way again. So with all of us here right now, the first thing I want to do is ask this perfect, absolute medicine that is unbreakable, absolute love, the essence of the human heart, the essence of the heart of compassion, that is the true ultimate spirit of this universe. Clear out anything in the space, in the people, in the finances, in the politics, in the past, in any and all of the potential disagreements that have happened with anyone in connection to this church, this beautiful house. And it's such an honor to be able to be here and to start off today with that kind of a prayer for this premises, this church, because it's the new year, and so it's time for everything to become fresh. It's time for everything about the past that would hinder us. And it was already mentioned by our opening couple and their child, this beautiful Nathan and his child and his wife. This is all about clearing, and this ceremony, this burning ceremony, burning and clearing anything that obstructs lots of vibrant, vital attendance to this church. So it's clearing, so each of us in our own way for just a few seconds, clear, and bring the energy, the perfect energy of the perfect love of unlimited consciousness right now. And you've heard me do this before, so just like, it may sound a little odd to you, but it's a mantra that it took me blood, sweat, and tears to receive from two different Tibetan lamas. It's ultimate healing, it's ultimate enlightenment, and it is ultimate protection. And so that's what I'm going to do for this church. In your hearts, you can open and just hear it, or you can do whatever you want in your own mind, translate it into English, whatever you want to do. Now clearing, now cleaning everything. Om Bhima Sharvari Penim Pachignagan Teta Sarva Tahana Benzana Raksha Raksha Soha Om Bhima Sharvari Penim Pachignagan Teta Sarva Hana Benzana Raksha Raksha Soha Om Bhima Sharvari Penim Pachignagan Teta Sarva Hana Benzana Vaksha Vaksha Soha Om Bhima Sharvari Penim Pachignagan Teta Sarva Hana Benzana Vaksha Om Bhima Sharvari Penim Nepachina Gananta Sarvarita on a Bezana Vajas on Bimajori Benepachina Gananta Sarvarita on a Bezana Vajas on Bimajori Benepachina Gananta Sarvarita on a Bezana Vajas on Bimajori Bay. Nepachina Gananta Sarvarita on a Bezana Vajas on Bimajori Benepachina Gananta Sarvarita on a Bezana Vajas on Bimajori Benepachina Gananta Sarvarita on a Bezana Vajas. May any energies, may any consciousnesses, may any spirits who need liberation be liberated now. May any energies or spirits or people who need healing receive it now. May all of the energy of this property and all of the attendees and caretakers of this church be turned into, transmuted into, or enhanced into perfect, coherent, sacred geometry, perfect, infinite, radiant geometry of the expression of unlimited, unbreakable love, unlimited, unbreakable joy, unlimited whole health, radiant and beautiful, vibrant life. May all the necessary healing come. Any and all beings, any and all energies who need healing, please enter the space of all of our loving hearts, what we make here together. Please enter it and be healed, and be freed. Be freed from suffering and the causes of suffering, united with happiness and the causes of happiness, living in the great equanimity, free from attachment and free from aversion, free from attachment to anything, free from aversion to anything, understanding and knowing that you are the true, unlimited, indivisible, great equanimity. we all look forward to the expression and the experience of unlimited joy, unlimited love, beautiful wholeness, coherent, radiant thoughts, feelings, actions, habituation to the essence of what we are, which is this one presence, one love that is in your church saying mantra motto. Om Bhima Sharvari Bene Vajina Goranta Tasaru Ridana Hana Bezana Vajavaza Om Bhima Sharvari Bene Vajina Goranta Tasaru Ridana Hana Bezana Vajavaza Om Bhima Sharvari Bene Vajina Goranta Tasaru Ridana Hana Bezana Vajavaza Om Bhima Sharvari Bene Vajina Goranta Tasaru Ridana Hana Bezana Vajavaza So Om Bhima Sharvari Bene Vajina Goranta Tasaru Ridana Hana Bezana Vajavaza Om Bhima Sharvari Bene Vajina Goranta Tasaru Ridana Hana Hana Benzina Bhakta Bhakta So ha Om Bhima Sharvari Pe Anan Pachi Naganen Deyata Sarvarita Hana Hana Benzirna Raksha Raksha So I'm super delighted to have met a child named Gabriel because lately I've been there's a structure of angels. Metatron, Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Ariel. I don't know if I have the Raphael, Ariel, Michael, Gabriel in the right order. They're all equal to me, but up here is this Metatron. You can look it up, M-E-T-A. You probably know about this. Metatron, Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Ariel. Anyway, you are that. You know, if any of you would stand in the mirror and look at yourself, that's what you are. Metatron, Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Ariel. You know, you could think just the general shape of a human. You've seen that, this sort of 5-star sort of thing, like the Leonardo da Vinci guy, the square circle, and the person that standing like this, naked. That human star, you can think of a cross, you know. Vertically we stand and then our shoulders are this way, and then if we put our hands out, there's a little bit of a cross thing, but there's also the 5-pointed star, and you can think Metatron, Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, Ariel. And by the way, all of this, I'm 100% sure that the Tibetan mantra, the sort of Buddhism that I come from, has no conflict whatsoever with Christianity and these talks of Metatron, Gabriel, Michael, Ariel, and this notion of the human being as a living flesh and blood 5-pointed star of indestructible love expression. Okay, so it just brings me joy to be here. It's an honor to me to be invited here to be speaking and just sharing, and also that to meet a child named Gabriel just feels completely right to me, you know, because I feel that I've been in communion with these Holy Spirits, and especially intensifying coming into the new year. And I know that 2023 is going to be a really good year. We went really plunging down with COVID. And when I say COVID, I mean I probably shouldn't even say COVID because that was just a symptom. But now we're coming up. And when I say we, I mean the earth, humanity, everything. You can just feel this. So one of the important messages is absolutely anything that ever bothers you is your beautiful doorway and gateway to your freedom and your enlightenment. That's the only thing that it is. If it triggers you, if it bothers you, if it generates feelings that are not pleasant, thoughts that are not pleasant, if it's an experience that you want to push away, it's none other than your doorway to freedom. It's there so that you can write it on a piece of paper and burn it and set it free. That's for now. That's anything that's lingering from the past. And that is as we all go into the future for sure. So one message of the day is please remember that it's really not about, this. It's not about me talking right now. It's about the moment to moment existence of you and whatever comes into your mind and into your feelings and whatever circumstances you find yourself in. That's what it's really about. In other words, all that I'm saying is 100% to be applied and not to linger as just a philosophy that was spread around like a purple smoke and then it evaporates after, this is any instant that you feel in your body, any kind of pain or your mind or your emotions. Open your heart to it, invite it into the exact center of yourself and say to it, dissolve in me and be free in the essence of yourself. Why? How? Because the essence of anything that we call not good is the same essence of everything that is good or bad. It's that essence. But in the illusory manifestation, we know that there are these things called experiences and realms and stuff, and spirits and entities get stuck. What makes them get stuck? They develop a sense of identity, and then that identity feels itself problematically engaged or restricted in something. Drop it all and let it dissolve into its own essence, its own basis, its own ground. The ground of everything is truly, and the essence of everything is truly already not divided from anything that you are, physically or metaphysically. It's already there. So your release and surrender is just your release and surrender of your suffering. Because what is the true cause of your suffering? There is only, I could get in a car accident and suffer, and I could say, well, it's because of the car accident. I could break up with my ex-wife, or we could go through whatever we went through, and there's suffering in that. We can experience people dying, we can experience ourselves dying. But what is really happening there? There's only one cause of suffering, and that is our habituated, mistaken notion of what we are. If we know what we are, suffering evaporates. If we know what we are, suffering evaporates. Because what we are is timeless, indivisible awareness. I could have, you guys know me already a little bit. I have 1,000 terms for the same thing. But I'm saying now it's indivisible, perfect, immortal awareness. You could call it perfect love. You could say the one presence. You could say God. But the point is, in practical living, that is the ultimate medicine. So all suffering comes from mistaken notion that we are something separate from that. And so then therefore, two things. We're a target for any kind of pain, and we also conceive of ourselves as that same solid, mistaken identity is always searching for something. It always wants, it always desires. And then of course, you name it. It could be physical or not physical, feelings, experiences, but that desire defines human existence, right? So you want. And then that want even comes around to what you don't want, because not wanting is a form of wanting. It's just the negative of wanting, right? So I don't want this, I don't want that, I don't want this, I don't want that, but that's still your want. Meher Baba, the teacher of one of the most influential artists in my whole life. I remember getting an album and here's this songwriter that I really admire. And it's back in the days when you had vinyl, and I pulled it out, and there's a big quote from his spiritual teacher: "Desire nothing except to rise above all desires. Hope for nothing except to rise above all hopes." Because everything is built of this polarity, positive and negative, and that plays into what we want and what we don't want. But all the while, we're already 100% that perfect love. That's what we are. So if we realize what we are, suffering evaporates. That's just how it is. It's so simple. It's beautifully simple. And so, along with the purification of this church, in great respect for all of you and a lot of gratitude for you all inviting me here, thank you very much. In the spirit of clearing and purifying this whole place, all of us together in this spirit doing this, I also say that, and I think you already know it, we're doing it for ourselves, for our lives, for our families, for all of our human connections, for all the people in our lives that we're tired of and we don't like, and all the people in our lives that we are not tired of and that we love, and all the mystery people. Because what we want and what is the message, I guess the reality of the new year, is that all of this is removed and we are ready to go with the cosmic love wave that is hitting the earth right now. And it really is hitting the earth right now, and it's unprecedented, because the universe, as you know, has no end. But in manifestation, you have cycles and you have waves and frequencies. And right now, Earth is being bombarded perhaps with more astounding movement and expression of this absolute love I'm talking about. Radiance, waves of it are hitting the Earth right now so much. And we just are coming out of this completely holy solstice time, and this incredible holy space that is between the Christmas and the New Year. That segment of time is when all of humanity can almost most access. That's the way it is on any year, but this year is even more so. That this amazing, because now we're in a sacred time of year, that's one. But number two, there's more of this cosmic love hitting than there ever has been before. So this clearing that we're doing for the church, for us, for everything, is truly aligning us so that we don't have any resistance to that amazing, empowering level of love. And I'll tell you a story about how that goes. I was coming over Lolo Pass yesterday and it was total ice and fog. It wasn't nice like it was down here. It was totally gray and totally ice from the top of Lolo Pass down to the bottom, and then eventually the roads were okay, but it still was rainy and snowy, and then finally just rainy. But I passed 3 cop cars and their lights are turning on the left side of the road, way up the river. I thought, wow, are they busting somebody for cocaine? What are they doing? I went a little way and I pulled over to the right hand side of the road. And I'm actually going to the bathroom on a snowbank. And I thought, this is great because there's no cars. But of course, as soon as I start going, there's cars coming. So, okay, that's fine. One guy goes by me and slows down. And it was just after I hurt myself trying to like pretend like I was checking my tire air or something. And he's like, are you all right? And I said, yeah, and I waved him on. So then I start again. And then 2 cop cars come that I passed so many miles down, and they pull up right behind me. And so I hurt myself again in order to pretend that I'm doing something else. Okay, what are you doing? I'm checking I actually lied to him. I told him I'm checking my tire air. But there was a big yellow strip of snow.
That was a deer that ran up there.
So they ask me a lot of questions. And it's 2 of them, and they have their drug searching dogs,
Oh.
and they want to search my car.
Oh.
And at the same time they're doing all that, they're telling me, well, you seem like you're not scared and you're all right, and you know, it doesn't seem like you would be anybody that's going to be hiding anything or whatever. And I said, yeah, you know, everything's fine. But I said, I really, I would like you not to search my car. It's not because that there's something wrong that I'm carrying in there. It's just because this happened to me one time in Riverton, Wyoming, where I live, and after it, all my friends told me, you don't have to let them do that. They have to have a warrant or something. So next time, don't let them. So I'm trying to now please myself, but mostly my friends in my head, and like kind of just meekly stick up for myself a little bit. Well, one thing led to another, and they brought their dogs, and then they thought their dog smelled something, so then that gave them a reason to still search. So then they searched my whole car, and then finally they're gone. And I finished peeing.
In the snow, right? In the snow.
Yeah, because my painting wasn't done. But anyway, my experience was, even though relatively speaking I was not scared, and even though they were pretty nice as far as people go, they weren't using their personalities to make it 10 times worse the way that some law enforcement people will do. They were actually nice guys in their way. But I still, my nerves, it still hit me at a pretty deep level. We're out in the middle of nowhere. They're wearing guns, badges, and uniforms. They can search through all of my belongings. And if I resist, the minute that I resist, they will use force. And all of that is present and possible. And so I noticed in my experience that it hit me right down at my bones. You know, I still felt somehow, you know, disturbed. But before all of that happened, I was thinking about my stepmom when I was driving down the road. And I was thinking about all the things that she is that I don't like that much. And all the things that she seems to do, and the way that she thinks, and the way that she treats my dad or doesn't treat my dad. And just all this goes on and on and on, right? And I I want to go back because this is where it's the real contact of not just philosophy, but it's applied in the moment. It's applied. You apply it to your experience and your moment-to-moment living. Because as time went on and I continued to drive down the road, it started to dawn on me that was a perfect wake-up for me to totally change my thinking, totally shift my focus, not from all of that massive 30-some years of build-up thoughts and feelings about my stepmom, the person that my dad decided to marry when I was a teenager, well, when I was in my 20s. The burden was too big for me. The habituation, the snowball had grown over years. And I'm not saying that being afraid of being arrested made all that snowball melt in a second. But it was a really big, powerful slap to me. A good slap. You know, a wake up. And this is what I mean. No matter how unpleasant anything seems to be, physical displeasure, metaphysical displeasure, emotional displeasure, mental displeasure, any kind of bother is the essence of you or God saying to you, treat me with wisdom and I'm the door to your freedom. Resist me and keep fighting me and you're only going to dig yourself deeper. So my excellent, beautiful best friend and ex-wife, she showed me what she wrote on her paper, and I won't disclose it, but I will just say that we all have family and friend connections that are difficult and challenging for us. And we also have, and that's in the present moment, we also have memories of things that are not pleasant, that somehow they are not resolved completely. We might tell ourselves that they are, but they're not. Well, some of them are. If you know they are, fine. But I'm just saying double check, because a lot of times we have memories that are attached to very, 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 very disturbing emotions. And it's the energies of those that need release, not just the thought and the memory and the vague connection, but the actual full energy. It's time for all of that to be uprooted and cleared. So any pain and any causes of pain from the present or the past, now it's evaporating or it's collapsing, whatever word you like, into the essence of itself. Because the essence of all pain and the essence of all pleasure is the same essence. The essence of life, the essence of death is the same essence. The essence of what we want and what we want to push away, same essence. The essence of consciousness is indestructible, immortal, indivisible love. And when I say indivisible, as I've said in little past sermons that you asked me to preach here, that sounds so abstract, but that's what makes it so brilliantly applicable, is that if this thing that we call absolute love is what all these churches in humanity have always said that it is, then that really means that everything is already it in its essence. And what we do with our free will is go, boom, that's what it is. Retrain yourself. In the moment, retrain yourself. If it bothers you, it's your beautiful love trying to talk to you. If it bothers you, it's the brilliant best friend you've ever had in your life saying, hey, don't get distracted. Don't keep on thinking that that's what you are. You and me are here together, always completely loving each other. I'm your essence. I'm the essence of you. I'm your very own essence. I was there before you were born. All through your birth, I was there with you. All through your childhood, I was with you. All through every suffering that you've ever been through, I've been with you. I'm right here holding your hand. I am your best friend. I am your essence. I am your own essence of your soul, your mind, your heart, your emotions. That's what I am, and I'm waiting for you. And if you're disturbed about anything, that's me saying hello. It's really, really hard to do. What if I would have had a bunch of drugs in my car? I'd be saying the same thing in prison right now. I wouldn't, but I thought about that too, you know. This has to do with karma. Karma is very real. And karma is kind of your unresolved history that is sure to meet you in the future because it's unresolved. See that agreement? So that's a squeal of delight. Well, I'm just calling it that. I don't know if it is that, but
Works.
but you know, but when we talk about consciousness and subconsciousness, again, the essence of all the consciousness and the subconsciousness is that same essence, and it's clear. Again, it's perfectly clear. But the unresolved, the unresolved will be somehow or another coming back to you until it's resolved. But with wisdom and free will, you can resolve it instantly, just like poking a bubble with a pin. Because you know what its essence is. And to know what its essence is means that two things happen very quickly. Number one, you know that how you're defining that thing that you don't like is the wrong way to define it. So that's wrong. The other thing is, the version of you that is all in resistance to that, that's not the real you either. So you go, boom, and they're both gone. It's hard to do in the moment when the pain level gets intensified. But if you can do that, you're free. And a lot of people who work with the dying, with death and dying, they know this, and there are processes that they bring to people in hospitals, anybody who's suffering anything at all, that are journeys like the meditation that was provided earlier, kind of journeys to say things like, it's kind of ceremony, journey together, right? Saying, I invite you into the space of myself. I no longer resist you. My cancer, my diabetes, my whatever. Well, it's not quote unquote yours. It doesn't even belong to you. It's something that's happening to the mortal changing cloud that is the body that came into existence, and it's going to evaporate out of existence. The bubble that was formed that is then not going to be there after a while. But you are the immortal, indivisible essence. Undying, perfect love power is what you are. And if you know that, then the whole experience of any suffering starts to change. Then you can relax and you go, oh yeah, No matter how bad it hurts, I know what it is and I know what I am. It's immortal, perfect love, and so am I. That's the end of the story. Nothing more to fix or try to fight or work on or do anything. Just know. Know what you are and know what everything else is. It's the same. The final part of this is, and again, I want to just thank you from my heart that I could stand here. I hope I can do it again, and I hope I can spend more time up this way so I can hear more other preachers and speakers, presenters. I say preacher because there are a lot of preachers in my past, my family, so it's just the word that comes to mind. But along the lines of what we're talking about, there's one final thought that I'll leave you with, and then I will answer any questions. Here it is. If you know what you are, then you know that the only thing that ever makes you happy is that consciousness essence. You may say, my income makes me happy, or my check that came in the mail makes me happy, my best friend that I get to spend time with is making me happy, my favorite meal is coming up, that's gonna really make me happy. Or, you name it, right? Okay, you name it. Everything from the cherished physical item to the conceptual thing to the whatever you want. But it's not really, really, really what makes you happy. The only thing that really makes you happy is this absolute love, this essence of consciousness. This perfect love is the true cause of happiness. Okay, when you know that, then you know that anything that makes you unhappy is also not real. So let me say it just a little differently. The Buddhists, they use words that confuse a lot of people. And one of them is emptiness. And a lot of people get the impression, wow, these Buddhists, they are worshiping emptiness. But what's emptiness? I just don't get a fuzzy, warm feeling from that. Like, am I gonna get up in the morning and say, oh, I love you, my emptiness? Well, actually, yeah. Because the indestructible essence of consciousness is that, and I know that that is the heart of Christ, or that is universal perfect love. That is this thing I'm talking about, that I talked about last time, this thing that is not a thing. The only thing that is not a thing. If it was a thing, it would be destroyable. It's not a thing. It's no thing, nothing. And when you explore and go into it and love it, what are you loving? You're loving the essence of yourself, the true, 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 true love. On earth, people get left and other people leave and people come together and split apart and everything is painful. It's horizontal, in and out. But this is vertical I'm talking about. Your essence is always undivided from you and you are free. And it's always right there. So if you know, so here's the way I'll say it, and I'll end it, and then we'll have a little talk if we want to. I'm just looking for the right words. If you know, if you really know that nothing or emptiness is actually the absolute love that is the only true cause of your happiness, then you also know that nothing is, that there is no cause of your suffering. In other words, there is nothing there that will be your suffering. Because if you have a lot of reasons over here and causes that will make you happy, automatically, those are all automatically tied to possibilities of suffering. Do you see that? So if you've got a list of 100 things that routinely make you happy, and in your habituation and in yourself, these are not known to you as indestructible love, but instead they are my favorite person or my car or whatever it is, my hope for something, then immediately those are all tied to the possibility that what if that's taken away? Then there's pain for you. But if you know that the true cause of happiness is the essence of all, which is emptiness, then in a little way you might get a broken heart because you're habituated, because you think, well, that was always what made me happy, but now somehow that's being taken away. So there's your kind of broken heart that way. But at the same time, you turn over here, and if you don't have all these things making you happy, then suddenly you turn over here and there's nothing to make you unhappy anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
Nothing ever will make you unhappy anymore. That's it. I love you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, that was great.
Lot to take in.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were coming up to hug me.
Yeah.
I will, no questions?
Well, I just have a question.
Come up and hug me.
I just have a question. I understand everything you're saying, and I can relate to it. How can you get there instantaneously? Because it's still taking, probably the ego, because I'm human, it's still taking a little time. Well, it did you too on the pass when you got stopped and everything. Because that felt to me like if it were me, I would have thought, that's my father's path, not mine, and give it up to, the creator.
That's a good question, and that's the hard part. And that's why all the mystics of all the traditions do spiritual practices. Because on the one hand, it's always true that all of us are already 100% united with our perfect love medicine that is the essence of ourselves. That is the truth.
Yeah.
So
I call
No.
it connected.
So to answer your question, yeah, right. So indivisible from you. All the ultimate goodness that you could ever want for any aspect of your existence is already completely unified with you right now. You don't have to do anything. That's already how it is.
Mm-hmm.
So knowing that is one good step that can answer your question about this instant, doing it quicker.
Yeah.
Okay, but then I also mentioned spiritual practices, because even though maybe everybody here is at the stage where they know that it's true what I'm saying, yet when the moments come,
You
it
feel
can
it.
be elongated and you don't know how long, you can almost, your experience is telling you that it's not true even though you know it's true, right?
Yeah.
So that's why people do spiritual practices. So any prayers, any meditations, and it's training. And so the way that people get better and better at accelerating their ability to understand and actually experience that even traumatic, difficult things are actually this amazing pure essence of love that they practice in the downtimes. They fill their downtimes with practice. Downtimes meaning things are not so intense. I have a few minutes here, what am I going to do? I have a few seconds here, what am I going to do? So that anything that comes out of my subconsciousness later, I'll be that much more ready for it, to know right then and there what it is and not slip into habits. So any and all spiritual practices that you can do anytime, that's the way. Also, the way is to remind yourself that you really do know what's true and to apply what you know, which is another thing, another way of understanding that. It's training. You can devise practices for yourself. You can even revisit the past when things were not good at some certain moment in your life, and just carefully go there and visit there and bring it back into your awareness, and even just let yourself feel a little bit bad like you did then, but then snap your fingers and say, wait a minute, no, I love you. You are my own essence talking to me, and I forgive everything, and I love you, and thank you for every pain and every pleasure you've ever gave me.
Would that be like my shadow work that I've done?
Probably. I've heard of that before, and I think maybe that's probably,
There's different terminology.
yeah, I know, there's entirely, and I know I have my own language, but I've heard enough of that to say probably that is what that is.
Oh, okay.
That's, and so if you do a lot of that, you get better and better at knowing what the total shadow of you it really is, which is again indivisible from this light of light.
Yeah.
The light that has no shadow. This
heart-
is the light that people talk about with the near-death experience. They always are frustrated when they're telling their stories. They're saying, I encountered a light that is indescribable. I can't tell you. It's so frustrating because I can think of the sunlight, and then I can try to talk about the sunshine being as bright as it could ever be imagined, but that doesn't do it justice. It's this clear, brilliant light of light that has no shadow. So shadow work to me means reaching a deep level of wisdom and doing practices that enable you to understand that the non-shadow you and the shadow you is really one continuous immortal you that was being before you were born and is going to keep being after you die, but it has its special way of being, its immortal being.
Yeah.
I hope that
It's kind of
sort of, well, we could keep
You're so
talking.
interesting. We could talk forever, but
Okay.
I'll leave it alone.
Okay.
If you weren't coming, I was gonna talk about the essence of like the music, and at this time